Don't cough. All right, we are live. This is Madison Sabey. The reason I ended up, well, actually, I think I've known you for a while. I'm trying to remember exactly how we ended up talking on Facebook. Something about me saying something about life after death or something like that.
Yeah, it got deep quick. I don't know really how, but somehow we connected over Facebook.
Yeah, it's not
on
something,
certain topics.
not something I had planned. I'm just trying to remember what message it was that I sent to you that caused this. But it was
Right.
like, yeah, this is the EFMG Hangout. This is not going to fall. This is going to fall under more of the paranormal coast to coast AM segment as opposed to the hangouts that I've done before. What really, because you basically fall under both categories, right? You're an artist and you've had an NDE, a near-death experience.
Yeah.
So for starters, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, born and raised. I'm 27 years old. I'm taking a break from school at the moment, but I study social work and psychology, and I work at the Grand Villa Casino downtown.
In one of the restaurants, I believe, isn't it?
Actually, on the casino floor as a cocktail waitress.
Okay, I've been in there a few times. I haven't run into you specifically.
Yeah.
Ran into a couple friends of yours that I ran into out at Astral Harvest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So the NDE, just start with basically just run through the evening from start to finish, and if I have questions, I'll ask them as I'm going along.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, basically, it was a trip to Vancouver. It was planned with some friends I hadn't known for that long, but long enough, I thought. So we all went to Vancouver. Before meeting up with them the night that this happened, I'd already had years of unfortunate bad energy in my life, and it's due to certain circumstances and things that were going on at the time. But I did always feel something not good, and even something not good that was maybe going to happen, but I didn't know. Not on that trip specifically, but just in general. I've been fighting through a lot.
A feeling of eeriness, perhaps, feeling like something bad was going to come down the road. Okay.
Yeah. Because of open doors and certain situations that were actually going on in my life at the time. I met up with my cousin before meeting up with the friends that I went down there, and she does do some like energy and Reiki type practices, healing and energy stuff. So we did a little bit of that, and it was quite paranormal, if you want to say that, because I did close my eyes in order to feel everything that she was doing to me in order to cleanse me and heal, or just figure out what kind of energy is going on with me.
Yeah.
I was closing my eyes and my arms started to actually raise on their own, and she was going around me, and things were even warping a little. It was very strange. Anyways, we had kind of let that go, even though she did feel like she sensed something. We let it go. We were done with that, I guess, and went to go grab a glass of wine. And then after a nice hangout with her, I went to go meet the guys, and unfortunately, I think they were recreationally experimenting with some drugs I've never tried before, and they were given to me and at too high of doses. So, and I'd never done it before, and really I hadn't planned on it, but it happened. And then everything went, like, I don't remember anything until the actual experience of the NDE.
So let's go back to the first experience. What specifically felt off, or was it some? Well, now I can. There's multiple ways that you can feel off. For instance, like I'm currently battling. It sounds like you are too. You're currently fighting a cold.
A little bit, maybe. In the winter, I'm more running in the winter.
I'm trying not to do that. I really gotta not do that when I'm in interviews. Because, like, for instance, like when I go to work, like the last few days when I have the cold, right? when I first get there, especially since I'm not much of a morning person,
Oh,
it's like I'm kind of walking around in a haze and I'm not centered. Is it that type of thing, or is it more of you get up in the morning and it's sort of like you're walking around and everything was feeling flat, or was it sort of more like a void? Like, how would you describe it as, to the best of your ability?
Yeah, actually probably more like years and years of a buildup due to a bad person that was in my life. Yeah, and it was years and years of, I guess you could call it harassment, stalking, abuse, and then eventually turning on his love and trying to make my life living hell. So then I started to experience certain actual experiences that were related to this beyond the physical, I guess you could say. And yeah, things were just going down.
So probably, I think the best word is that this particular experience may be triggered, hit an emotional trigger. There are certain, with Reiki, specifically with Reiki, if it's not done properly,
yeah,
your body will store like tension and emotional energy in certain parts of your body. In the acting world, they have this technique where the actor relaxes, and when the actor relaxes to get to a certain point, there's a certain part of the body that will usually tense up. For me, it's usually right in and around the neck.
Yeah,
and especially if you don't know the person, if you hit the right trigger, it'll flood your body with
even
emotions,
open doors.
It'll open a door that normally wouldn't be there, and then you were going through an emotional experience.
Traumatic, actually. Even,
You're refilling emotional energy and
trying to get away from it, actually. Yeah.
Trying to get away from it, trying not to feel. And then you met up with these people instead of, when how old were you? 20 when this happened?
I was a little bit older for this experience. I was 2013, so 5 years ago. I was 22.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't necessarily know to ask the right questions. Didn't necessarily know how to even phrase it, because you'd never been through it before, and probably nobody ever told you about it. Yeah, and then you hopped. Yeah, and that would normally, because I've had intense traumatic experiences like this myself.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me, they didn't happen until I was 30. I didn't get triggered until I was 30, and oddly enough, it was a relationship for me too.
No.
That did it, and I had enough. There were people around me that told me that I needed to go into a space, and I had spaces to go into, which I had only recently found out about. You don't necessarily know that stuff when you're that age, because especially if you come from when we're having that conversation on the phone, sounds like your family didn't necessarily even discuss this particular issue.
They didn't understand why I couldn't get away from it, and I don't almost feel like until you experience like abuse, emotional, physical, whatever kind, that you don't really understand why they actually can't get away. But it comes to the point where things become dangerous if you don't. So, and then you get stuck. So, yeah, unfortunately, people can have a big influence.
Yeah. So you didn't. So, and then you had, wow, this is. Well, I mean, maybe I can see why you were saying it was an intense emotional experience for you.
I feel it would have been like, if I want to describe this on like a storyline, the NDE was the climax of this terrible situation with this person that wouldn't leave me alone, and then eventually turned on me. So we were really close, best, like good friends, but yeah, he did eventually turn on me because he didn't get the love back that he wanted, and it's almost like it's what he wanted to happen to me. Like he wanted me to die, and it's almost like the energy that took me was from him.
Interesting. Interesting for me. Probably not so interesting for you because you're the one having to feel it.
It sucks, but it's interesting nonetheless. Anyways,
Yeah.
It adds to my spiritual growth.
Yeah. Well, again, right. Not big on religion, but a lot of our life. This comes from Buddhism. A lot of our life is defined by suffering.
Mm-hmm.
The suffering is painful, it's difficult to go through, but at the same time, the lessons we learn and the things that we learn from it carry on and make us stronger for whatever comes up again. And there is always stuff that comes up again.
Always.
So you funny, we haven't even touched your singing yet. But yeah, we'll get it. So yeah, so basically putting into you went to this event beforehand. You got hit with an emotional trigger and probably had some emotional release, and you didn't necessarily know at that point that you probably needed to just go, that's it, I'm done for tonight. That was a little bit too much for me. Let's go home. You went out and you were possibly maybe imbibing a little bit too much to possibly even drown out the feelings. Is that
maybe. I think it was just a maybe. I mean, I already was drowning out the feelings at that point, not just that night in general. So yeah.
Okay, so you remember you remember dancing on the floor. You remember
I remember maybe like 30 seconds of feeling great, like, oh, this is why they do this. But and then I was given more without it was way too much was entered in my system.
And then you ended up going into the bathroom and
I was told I was found passed out on the woman's counter in the bathroom on the sink.
And then you were taken this was downtown Vancouver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would probably have been St. Paul's Hospital. I'm from Vancouver originally.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I went to many a 12-step meeting at that. In fact, my very first 12-step meeting was at that hospital.
Oh, really?
That's a story I'll have to tell you when this interview's over.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting experience for me personally, and it ended up saving my life.
That's awesome.
So you got out of it. Did you wake up in the emergency room, or did you wake up in a hospital room?
I woke up in the hospital room. Yeah, okay. Once they were done.
So was there anybody there, or did anybody just show up later, or?
No. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, they weren't great guys, I guess. I didn't know them well enough.
No. So was there any, I take it there was like, was your cousin or anything like that?
No, because she didn't get contacted because she went out. She went home when I went to go meet up with the friends and stuff.
Oh, okay. So did you get any chance at all to kind of process what had happened while you were down there?
When I woke up, I was starting to process it, but I was actually not. I had to figure out how to get home alone. Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't even really get the chance to.
Because the boys had my purse.
They had your purse.
They just dropped me off, left, and took my purse.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense.
You had hopefully your plane tickets weren't in there.
They were already established. I already had my plane ticket myself there.
Okay, so something like this always, and this was 7 years ago. Something like this always takes a while to get through. So you come back to Edmonton. And did you tell? I take it, and again, my family. I personally can't stand them, so I don't share anything.
Oh.
No, seriously. I could probably get into some family history with me. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't share.
This is hard when there's such differences of experiences and beliefs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have extremely limited in what I share with my family.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm based upon the amount of interaction I've had with you. That is not the case with your family, right?
What, where I can't stand them?
Well, no. Where you're able to kind of like communicate with them a lot more freely. That's far-fetched saying that, but I can't, like, I can stand them. I love them, and I'm close with them. Yeah, but they didn't exactly know how to handle this situation. And sometimes when I talk about
definitely they don't want to engage too much on the paranormal stuff. So I know how it feels, kind of feel a little bit misunderstood or alone.
Okay, so you so is your family like particularly religious or anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay, neither is mine. So your initial reaction to what was going on, it was more of like, what were you talking about initially as opposed to what happened down the road?
Like literally when I woke up?
You know, as opposed to, say, in Vancouver when you got to Edmonton, when you started sharing about what happened in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I like initially woke up, I'd already had a conscious experience. So when I woke up, I already knew what happened before any nurse actually confirmed it. So I was in kind of disbelief that it actually.
So you were actually separated from your body. You actually saw your physical form there. I
didn't know. I've heard of those kind of situations where they do see their physical form or see what the doctors are doing. I think there's different things. Different type of NDE experiences that I've researched and heard about. The one that I experienced was being a form of consciousness without a physical body. My physical body must have been left behind because I was going in a forward direction. And what was around me, it was a tunnel of rays of different shades of gorgeous white gold light. So yeah, I literally went right through the light.
And you came out the other side, and instead of there being a bright light, it was like blackness.
Well, that's like the part that I don't even I kind of understand it. When I was going through this white light, I was actually consciously thinking about my family. How are they going to feel? This can't be happening. I had thoughts going on while I was going through the light. It wasn't so much about, oh, my life's gone. It was like my family and how are they, like, this is happening. And then as I kept going further within my thoughts, then things at the end of the tunnel started not to look right. And I thought, oh my God, the bad energy got me. Or, they got me, I guess. The negative energy got me. And that's what I was afraid of. And then once I started to think this with the darkness and I got closer to it, I just got pushed. Like there's a physical push, an impact on my consciousness. And that's when I woke up. So.
Oh, okay. No, I have heard of that happening before. You get to a certain point and, well, again, Coast to Coast AM, there was one individual who had an NDE. It was more of a garden tranquil setting, and he got to this certain point. He was Indian, like Indian, not in Native American Indian, but Indian. He got to this certain point, and there was like the literal multi-armed Hindu deity that comes up to him and tells him, "You're not supposed to be here. You need to go back. You can't go past this point. In fact, you're not even supposed to be here."
That's really cool.
Yeah. And it was like, well, this is something that I've speculated about for a long, long time. Depending upon the religion of the person, like, dude, we're the classic. I mean, I got raised in a class, like pretty much the classic Christian Western belief system. Although we never went to church. So Christians, when they die, they will see Jesus. Muslims, when they die, they will see Allah. Buddhists will see Buddha, etc., etc., etc. It depends upon.
It depends upon what you're familiar with. The belief that you're familiar with, because not one belief is only true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't see anything. It was just basically the tunnel.
Yeah, it was just the tunnel, and I think it was like I know I got pushed back by God, like by the positive, right? The positivity of the universe pushed me back from the negative that was trying to take me. So I think I maybe was pushed back before. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. It's like, I mean, Harry Houdini said he was going to try his damnedest after he died to contact his wife, and apparently he did, but I'm not sure. There's
death.
about my personal take on death is that life's too short to be worried about what's going to happen when I die.
Yeah.
So I'm too busy living to be worried about what's gonna. I mean, like I'm like I could go into my other channel. It's not politically correct. There's some potential, like there's the whole culture war heating up, and it's kind of gone into cold storage at the moment. But there's elements of it that at some point are going to just explode, and they're probably going to go critical this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
predictions, events.
It's not good. Here's the really weird thing, and we're getting all completely off topic here, but cultural trends, it's usually, and here's the thing with you, it probably was something really small that triggered that emotional experience for you when you had that Reiki thing. It was probably a particular moment, and you might not even remember what it is. And usually what happens with the culture is that it's usually a small event that it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. All it takes is that, I think, to open up that door.
Yeah, and once the door is open, you can't close it again, right?
Or it takes a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing you can do I mean, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but I like when you were telling about some of this stuff, and I can see it in your eyes right now, like there's still a lot of emotional trauma there.
Yeah.
That you still have to be, like, I mean, you don't get over trauma, you just have to move past it.
Yeah, I think I just heal my body in a way where I don't react emotionally or physically anymore to what has happened in the past. That's what I'm working on the most. And looking at the good things that came out of it, the fact that I was pushed back in my body, that must mean that I have something left to offer this world. And this experience took away the fear of death for me. It really did. So kind of proved what I'd already started to be discovering, because I did start discovering God actually before this happened, in a way. Yeah. God was speaking to me. So
do you do prayer, meditation, anything of that sort?
Like currently?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I try to have a relationship with God, and if people want to put a physical form like Jesus or on it, I feel like it's all the same energy, and there have been many prophets that have come to earth to teach us things, but all in all, it's a one energy of positivity and love that will answer. I feel it's I have a relationship now.
Yeah, you have a relationship with a higher power of your understanding. That's another concept from the 12 steps, which I've been involved with for a very long time.
Good for you, though.
Yes, well, yeah, it's really important to be connected to the source.
Yes.
So it's about creating. I mean, a lot of relationships are about establishing connection. If you come from certain families like mine, where there's a lot of drug and alcohol abuse and a lot of narcissistic personality disorder, those connections can get abused, and you don't, again, right, when you're younger, you don't necessarily, it's not that you're not stupid or anything like that, but I mean, you don't even necessarily know how to ask the right questions. It's like literally something that comes out of, there's this, have you seen The Matrix, the movie? Okay, there's a scene where I gotta turn, not Neo, Morpheus. They're interrogating Morpheus, and Morpheus is not answering the questions.
Okay.
And one of the programs looks over at Agent Smith and goes, "Maybe we're not asking the right questions."
Right. Yeah, I can remember that.
And it's like, well, there's a lot of, that's the reason why that's the reason why the movie The Matrix is such a popular. You've probably heard of the red pill, right?
I remember it kind of from the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like literally, actually, the blog I run is called the Red Pill Nation.
Based upon on the Matrix.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of like an awakening. That's the base definition of the red pill.
An awakening
is that you become aware of what is going on around you, and then at a certain point, that can be disconcerting, because it's like, it's the truth, and the truth, which is sort of what you went through, can be a really intense emotional pill to swallow.
Well put.
And it can get stuck in your throat, and you know, and it's not just about life and death. It's about what's going on in society and whatever. And you know, when you come out the other side, there's a lot of there's need to take personal responsibility for yourself. And then once you look after yourself, then you can start thinking about the bigger picture.
Yes, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the bigger picture for you?
The bigger picture, definitely just progressive healing, right? That's the most important, to not be brought back to bad places and stuff. But on top of that, that's not what all I want to do, right? I obviously want to try to make a difference and ultimately work with children. Yeah. Sensitive children like me. Like, I was a little bit different, I feel. I've always felt different and misunderstood and not accepted a lot of the time. But a lot of people have love for me too, and I have a lot of love to give. So yeah, I want to touch children's hearts that feel different as well.
This is something, again, I mean, a lot of really attractive women. I mean, because you're not the only really, really attractive woman I have. You tend to have you tend to get a lot of hostile energy thrown at you from other women.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, it happens. It happens, though, because society also kind of puts women up to other women, right? Saying this is what you should look like and this and that. So it kind of, there's different factors that create that. It's not just the jealous woman's fault or whatever, right? We've all been there. Yeah. But yeah, I just have to remember, like, society's fault, I feel, in a way, the format and the system of how women are kind of feeling. And it's about finding what's within you and, the beauty within.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it seems to be, they reach a certain level, and then all of a sudden, that women at a certain level, it's like almost as if it's like really difficult for them to like establish connections, because there's
and a level meaning like what level? Like,
I mean, at a certain like
looks wise.
Yeah, at a certain if they're like the really, really, really attractive women, like the ones that are like 9s and 10s, right? Guys are afraid to approach them. Other women don't like you paying attention because they might. That type of thing. And the guy, because I mean, for instance, I'll bring up this, and we're really getting off topic here. Formula One just stopped. They're not going to have grid girls anymore.
Formula One.
No grid girls in Formula One. And yeah, they're replacing it. They're replacing it with grid kids. But yeah, and I'm like, well, women in cars are like almost synonymous with each other. Like, who is making that kind of a decision? The 300-pound feminists are the ones that are like screaming yay on this. Like the ones that are like the really unattractive ones are the ones screaming yay on it. There's like, I mean, there's women that do this full time professionally, that get paid to do the job, and they like what they're doing, and they get paid well for doing it, and they just basically took women's jobs away from them.
Okay.
And they don't even really seem to care.
Yeah.
You know,
if they're not caring when someone else's life's being affected, and then I think that's the main thing, right? Is no matter what feelings someone's feeling, hostility, jealousy, it's like that's kind of their issue. And we all have to kind of focus on our own issues and let other people deal with theirs, and just hope for them and pray, I guess, for them in a way too.
Yeah. So we haven't even touched on this. You're singing. Like, what has ever happened with that? Are you even planning on doing anything with that? Is that just something you're just gonna like do on the side?
Yeah, kind of thing on the side. It's not like I wouldn't pursue it if given the opportunity. The only thing that kind of holds me back is just during like the rough time and everything, just being a bit injured over some stuff that occurred in the past, like physically injured. which gives me a bit of a cough and asthma and whatnot. So it does affect my voice. But I love writing. It's a pure hobby of mine. It's my love, my form of art, so
Poetry writing, like as in writing.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a way to express myself, to get it out.
Oh, you have a website or anything like that? Or
I have so much material just like built up in books and just so many ideas inside of my head, but it's about manifesting them and making them happen. So I actually haven't really focused. I only started singing like vocal lessons a couple of years ago. So I think it's still just the beginning of my singing path or music path.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, anything in the arts, like for instance, what I do. I mean, I have to like consistently be constantly putting stuff out. Have you had? Again, we're gonna have to go back into the trauma part of this.
Yay.
Oh, that's okay. I've been there myself. Yeah. I know. Again, it's a different process. It was a different set of circumstances with me in regards to what had happened. I can tell you, for me, when I got to that point where I was in a much safer environment when the anger and the emotion came out, and guys, when it's sort of almost like a trigger. You know, when it hits, it's just like, bam!
There's no stopping it.
Yeah. Whereas opposed to women, it tends to be more of like an oscillation.
Okay.
An oscillator. So yeah, when it happened for me, it was, I was a bawling, sobbing mess on the floor for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then it was gone. And it was like, wow. You got to do this, because I was in a room full of a whole bunch of other guys who were all going through the same thing at the same time. And it's like, like you got to push through the pain, come out the other end. And there's like some real freedom there. Yeah. Like you're able to, like, once you get through it, you're able to, you're free of it. It's not control. Like, I mean, it's not control. It's something that's dictating your life anymore. And you're able to kind of almost like you reach for your intellect a little bit better, and you're able to kind of like make a more sane decision, whereas before
it was clouded.
Well, I mean, your ego
or perhaps,
your ego or your mind will reach for the thing that works.
Right, where we want our soul to reach for the thing that works, right?
Reach for the thing that works. And if that thing that works isn't healthy for you, then that can cause issues. But I mean, it's like sometimes you have to for me.
And that's not what works, though. If it causes issues, that's not what works.
It's not what works.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of drug issues come from. If you come from a healthy environment, then it's a different story. So
it can still happen, though.
It can still happen. So how, when you went through this and you came out the other side, what was that feeling? What was the emotional release like for you?
Absolute disbelief. Absolute disbelief that I just experienced something that is proof to me of afterlife, and of our soul going on. It took a while to sink in, and even some experiences happened after. It opened up some
I can imagine it would. So shock, denial. Was there an anger? There were shock, denial, anger.
I was angry at the people that left me there. It was actually Evelyn. I shouldn't say that actually, but anyways, I shouldn't say names. But it was the son of a well-known woman, and he carried me in but he wasn't at fault because he wasn't the one I went with to the Vancouver. So he's actually the one maybe that saved me, because he's the one that actually carried me blue in the face, white and blue in the face with, my legs and arms. And so he didn't have obligation to do that, having not met me before. It was the guys I went with that had the obligation to, you should have stayed. So that's where the anger came from. Why am I alone? But I was in disbelief, a little bit angry at them, but also just kind of like not half, like just my worth might have gone up a little in my own way. Maybe they brought it down a bit by just putting me there, but through the universe, my worth went up in a way because I was pushed back. I have a mission, I have a purpose. So,
yeah. Exactly. Kind of everybody's got one of those just that basically have to figure out what it is, and then you decide to go out and do it.
Yeah.
So how far are you into your actual studies at Grand Mac?
Yeah, I'm like about 3/4 or halfway done my program. So I have a little bit more to go and like some field place and stuff. And maybe I'll go further after that with school. We'll see. I got to be in the perfect place head-wise and emotionally wise to take on other people, to help other people.
Yes. So, I've never, well, this is just me. I've never been that kind of guy. I'm not much of a hand holder. That's just me. There's some connection issues. Don't want to get into it too deep because this is going to be a live interview. I could probably get into a lot of it offline with you, but yeah. Did it change the week? But getting to the connections, did it change how you connected with people?
Interesting. I've never been asked that. I guess in a way it took away some anxiety or worry in a way, but it's more just how it helped me connect with myself first and foremost. Yeah. It's like it helped me connect with people and that I was started being in a better place after it happened, surprisingly. But it was just more like my own relationship with myself that grew. It actually was a bit conflicting because it brought me closer to people, but it also made it harder to connect with some people because how are they going to relate to something they don't understand?
Yeah, I know. Like I say, I have my other channel and some of the stuff. It's not politically correct. I don't necessarily tell people about that other part of myself, especially when you work in the arts. I'm not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, the red pill is the red pill. Once you become aware of what's going on around you and what's happening, it's kind of like you see some of the stuff that's going on, especially in Hollywood, right? How I do. And
I do too.
And it's not, it's like a lot of the accusations are real, but a lot of the stuff that's also going out is not. Like some of the accusations are definitely, Aziz Ansari, for instance, didn't do anything.
Who?
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz. There's a Me Too for Aziz now?
Yeah, there's a Me Too for Aziz Ansari. I can't remember what he did, but basically, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened with him. Some woman, I think is on babes.com, wrote a very unflattering article about him, but what it basically came down to is Aziz Ansari followed the rules for basic consent, and he ended up getting tarred and feathered anyway.
Yeah.
So it was a false accusation. And it, stuff like that kind of makes it, when guys see stuff like that, it makes it very, I had a friend of mine who just started another job, and he hit one of the sites he worked at. Had a friend of his, well, actually, yeah. Somebody phoned up the manager and complained about something that happened 6 years ago, right? Like, there's no way the guy can actually confirm or deny.
Yeah.
What happened? Hold on a second. Yeah. All right. I didn't want to get too public about that. There's no way, because it was like the call got made, and I got asked. Okay, you know what? It's me. Sorry, I gotta let it.
It's out.
It's out. There's no way that I could confirm it. There's no way. It's like, well, who said it, right? Like, I mean, who said it? Who did it? Like, I know the place that happened, but it was like, no, nothing like that ever happened. I'm not going to apologize for something but I mean, it's sort of like, yeah, if
this happened to you, or they?
6, yeah.
And
From what I understand,
it was a false.
It was I was not doing my job and I was hitting on one of the cashiers, and it's like, no, that didn't happen because for one, they were at this particular location. There's no cashiers that I even caught my eye.
Mm. Yeah, so unfortunately, it does happen, right? Where it's like within a bunch of truths, there'll be also false accusations, and unfortunately, that had to happen to you. Unfortunately, that happened to you. I'm sorry. That sucks, right? Because then it makes the real situations where that is happening taken a little less seriously. The more false accusations, the more the real accusations will be taken a little less seriously. So yeah, it's kind of controversial.
Yeah, well, there's that, and there's whole. I could go off on a whole tangent about this, and it's already 20 after 9. With that whole LNDE, would you consider that to be one of the? I guess you probably would consider it to be one of the defining experiences of your life.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I like how you put that. If not the defining experience of my life. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it gave me understanding to everything I was going through. It confirmed it fed to my truth. It fed to my knowing, my knowledge. And I feel that anything that I have gathered with my paranormal experiences over time happened to me authentically, where I didn't research any of this stuff until it actually occurred to me. So that's kind of my whole thing on, I experienced this before ever kind of confirming it with other people's research and whatnot, right? So that's what I think is really cool, is I actually went through it before finding research instead of the other way around, right? And it's nice that I'm not the only one that's gone through.
Oh, you're far from the only one. The tunnel is
the
tunnel is definitely
very common.
Tunnel is very common. Being yanked back or being pushed back is also, from what I understand, a very common experience. The one, did you ever see those videos that I showed you on that one Life After? Did you see that series?
I did watch some of it, yeah.
Okay, there was one woman in that. There's one part of it. I don't know whether you got that far into it. Mm-hmm. There's this one woman who basically died after giving childbirth.
Okay.
And her NDE was, she ended up in front of these entities, and they were like telling her that you don't exist. Your children don't exist. The world doesn't exist. You're just allowed to believe it exists. And
simulation-like?
Yeah, it's only, again, the Matrix situation.
I'm totally into that.
Like, yeah, like I'm looking here, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, we're interacting.
I'm here.
You're real, I'm real, this is real, but on a quantum level, this is something that Elon Musk personally believes, and there's websites out there that actually,
it's science now. Yeah.
On a quantum level, we don't exist, right? Like, I am not actually touching this coffee cup, right? Like, we're a collection of atoms that are blinking in and little tiny little nucleus, bunch of electrons that just go in and out, and we're just countless trillions, quadrillions of these atoms that are fading in and out. So we, on a quantum level, we don't exist. So that woman was telling me about her experience, and it's like, you don't exist, yet we do. And if we don't exist, or are we a projection of something that's out there? So when we die, we're being sent literally
back to where we were being projected
back to where we were projected, which is the tunnel, so to speak.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Or
I like that.
Or somebody also, one of the other near-death, another common thing that comes with NDEs is that people will arrive there and they will see almost like
ancestors,
their family relatives, or they will see these bits of light, which are apparently us, and we're being processed. Or there's also the reincarnation, where you go through the process and you come out as another person.
Yeah, I actually do believe in past lives myself. Not that I'm like that knowledgeable. I'm still learning and gathering information. But
do you have a particular past life that stands out for you?
I don't, because I want to be able to remember more, but I don't want to create false memories. So I don't do regression hypnotization. But I I can feel things from past lives, like in that certain even traumas that have carried over somewhat from childhood, or just certain things that I wonder that I feel from past lives. You know, I really do believe in it.
Yeah,
so.
I've got yeah, no, there were a couple of interesting ones. For me. One of them was I was the Emperor Aurelian. I was one of his chief advisors.
Is this something you remember?
This is something that I have very specific. Is Aurelian was the one who built Aurelian's Wall, the one who put the wall around the old city of Rome. Because I know a little bit about Roman history. Aurelian was basically the emperor that there was a crisis period where the Roman Empire should have literally fallen apart.
Yeah.
The first time, and it didn't. And one of the big reasons why was that Aurelian basically just went on the war path for about 5 years and just basically conquered, beat everybody. And he wanted to secure Rome, and I was apparently one of the guys that convinced Aurelian that it was necessary to build the wall.
That's so awesome.
One of the reasons why I convinced him to build the wall is because the empire was secure now, but there's no guarantee that the empire is going to be secure down the road. That's something that I specifically remember. And there was another really one where I was a woman. This is even further back. This is before even the Druids. This is in I think it was England or in Europe somewhere. And I got lost. I was a girl in this one.
Oh.
And I got lost out in the woods with my younger sister. And I died and she didn't.
Wow. How did you remember these?
I had somebody do it. I didn't get hypnotized. I got an issue with being hypnotized.
I do too.
That's
what I feel led me into all this.
That's I did one of those stage hypnotists one time years ago back in the 90s.
Not a good experience.
Well, it was funny at the time, but it's not funny afterwards because Banff's a small town.
Oh, they're all laughing at you and what they made you do.
It was right after a breakup, and I started bawling on stage because it was a breakup.
Oh, it sucks.
And it was
that's brutal.
It was really funny at the time. Because I always laugh at the people when I go to these stage performances. I don't even laughing with them, but laughing at the guys. But it was it was a small town, so everybody found out about it.
Well, at least she didn't see, right?
She didn't see it, but she found out about it, and it was embarrassing.
Hopefully, she was nice about it.
She didn't say anything. Sometimes you don't have to say anything; it's just a look. Right? But no, I was like, no, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. Well, I think it's sometimes they take advantage of taking over the free will or whatever. It's kind of not right.
Okay, well, we're getting to 9:30. This has been a really interesting, but we kind of just drifted off into other topics, which is kind of what I figured was going to happen.
Yeah, happens.
I can tell this was really, especially, I think it was probably from when you're telling me, it's kind of the combination of when you went through that experience, you went through, this was in that period, immediately after you'd broken up with this guy.
It wasn't even exactly a breakup. It was a best friend from high school that turned into him being absolutely obsessed, love obsessed, and then turning on me for not reciprocating. So yeah, it was just when he turned on me that he went out on a mission to ruin my life. So
and it was shortly right after. So you're still processing.
It was within still being harassed outside my apartment and being followed and broken into and physically attacked.
He broke it. Wow.
So there was some awful stuff leading to this, and it did, like I said, it felt what the ultimate goal was of him. But I came out the other side. I came out back to earth and the other side, and came out much more knowledgeable and spiritual and closer to truth. And it's almost the biggest blessing in disguise.
Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to end this because I want to get to a movie tonight.
Movie time.
Don't know which one I'm gonna go to. I have a pecking order, but Madison Sabey, this was interesting as hell.
Thank you.
I wasn't
having
really
me.
sure how this was gonna go. You went really deep. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is Sam Arcand for Edmonton Filmmakers Group, and this is my first live interview on this one. I've done a live interview on my other channel. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you later.
Bye.